Here's how you clean a really nasty stove. Now I love this stuff called the pink stuff. And what I do is just spread a little bit on. And I'll show you the pink stuff versus baking soda. And all you do is just scrape along until you get all you can feel the resistance when you're cleaning it. Okay, and then you can see here where it didn't quite get clean. So I'm going to go through and re-rub those again. Okay, now I'm going to show you the baking soda. So for the baking soda, put a drop of, put 1 drop of dish soap and then sprinkle a little baking soda. And then what I'm going to do is make a paste. And I'll leave this little bit so you can see the after. And then I just go around and until I feel it get smooth again. You can feel the resistance on the areas where it's still got stuff. Okay, so let's wipe it down. And you can see now this is kind of clear yet, but you can see how really clean that got. Okay, let's finish scrubbing the rest. Now, if you have a really bad spot, you can take your scraper and just hold it flat and just scrape it off. Okay, and then what I do is I just do this every time I cook dinner, and it literally takes me like 3 minutes to do it after I cook dinner every night. And then I don't have to do a big cleaning. We are giving you maintenance tips on to keep your appliances going and keep them from just breaking down in general. People don't realize they're doing everyday things and it's just breaking their appliances. So we're gonna start with the stove first. Is that okay if we start there? So what you were telling me about when people hire a cleaning company to come in and clean their houses, the cleaning company does this to their stove panel and it ruins it. And what is that?
That is using ammonia-based cleaners.
Which is
Number one,
Windex.
Windex. And it's so easy on a microwave, you know.
Oh my goodness. So using Windex to clean your appliances is really bad.
Absolutely.
So what does it do?
Usually you have these touch panels. Most notable is your microwave control panel, but most of the ranges now have a touch panel for at least a timer or setting the oven temperature.
Yep.
They are layers of plastic in there that are glued together to make that electroconductive spot. And the ammonia gets between those layers and rips the adhesive apart, and then they short out. So your Windex, you know, you're going along the front of a range or across the front of a microwave, and the door is fine. You know, you got glass there, but then you have a touch panel, and they need to be separate.
So how do you clean them? I just use soap and water when I clean all my appliances. That's all I use. I don't use any disinfectant, nothing. I just use, after I do the dishes, I just take my soapy water and wipe down all of the appliances. But is that the best way to clean them, or?
Yeah, a soft damp rag, soap and water. I do always recommend a little bit of white distilled vinegar added in with water in a spray bottle.
Okay.
That's beneficial for hard water deposits.
Okay.
And you know, it usually does a little bit less streaky kind of speckly look than soap and water does sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The vinegar does have a mild disinfecting angle to it. Peroxide does as well. You just want to kind of be careful with peroxide. Usually we just stick to the vinegar.
What about rubbing alcohol? Would that work?
Rubbing alcohol is a little bit rough sometimes on electronics, just because it's a solvent and you've got a water content. It can open up a corridor, you know, through something that has an adhesive, and possibly you'll get water in there.
Yeah.
There are angles that rubbing alcohol is fine for. I don't discourage it. I like to, you know, keep a wary eye on some uses of it.
To start with, I use the wash rag that I clean my dishes with to clean my sink because I'm getting ready to throw it in the laundry. By the way, a wash rag is a lot more sanitary than using a sponge. So we get a fresh wash rag every single day. And this way, I don't have to worry about spreading germs all the time, that kind of thing. The first way I start cleaning is I take my soap bottle, and see all this soap that's been dripping down? That just drives me crazy. So what I do is I take my rag and I rub it around and I get my soap bottle all clean. Get all the soap off. And this way, I get it put on my rag. And then I take my rag and I wipe down my sink. Oops, I left my cleaning things there. And I just wipe down and get it all good and wet. Get all the food off. Let it soak for just a little bit. I don't scrub real hard. I let the water and the soap do the work for me. And one of the ways to do that is to get it all soaked down so that it's soaking. And always use hot water. So then I go down, and after it's soaked for a minute or so, and I start wiping down all the big pieces of food and get them down into the drain. Now this you should do after you wash your dishes, after every single meal. You should wipe down your sink, and this helps keep it clean on a regular basis instead of having to do a big cleaning every week or so. And I just sprinkle a little bit. You don't need a lot of cleaner. That's plenty. I mean, that's maybe a half a teaspoon. And my sink is already pretty wet and my rag is already pretty wet, so I'm not adding any additional water. And be sure you really get back here, because this is where a lot of stuff really collects in the back, because people don't think to wipe down back there. I like the Comet also because it gets rid of little rust spots and that kind of thing, and that really helps to get out some of those stains. My sink is starting to get a little stained and I can't get everything out, but I can get a lot of it. Then I rinse my Comet off, and you can just spray it down if you want and use your sprayer. Although I like to rinse it with the rag because then I give it an extra scrubbing, but you don't have to. Just kind of whatever you prefer. And then if there's any little spots left, get that. Then be sure to wipe down your counter. Then after you're done cleaning, you need to take and dry your counter and the sink. This is what helps it keep it shiny and clean. Now you can see right here on my faucet where it's scratched a little bit. What happened was one of my kids were cleaning and they used one of these scratchy pads. Do not use this to clean your sink. It will scratch it. And so that's what happened here. And you can see, unfortunately, but that's just life with kids. How do I clean old stinky Tupperware that's sticky and smells? I have some old big pieces that I would like to keep. Thanks in advance. So, to clean the stink off of Tupperware, I don't personally have any real Tupperware, but I know that it's really good, and I see it at thrift stores all the time, and I was thinking about actually buying some from the thrift stores, but I'm just using my plastic ware here to demonstrate. So this principle is the same. If it's a smaller one like this, I just fill it with water, and then I pour in some baking soda, I don't know, I just dump some in, 1/4 cup or so. Stir it up. Set it down to wherever I'm going to let it set overnight, and then I fill the rest of the way with water. And I let it sit overnight, and that takes care of the smell. If you have the lid also that is smelly, take a great big container like this and set the whole thing in there and fill the whole thing with water and baking soda. You may need to weight down your container with, I don't know, a rock or whatever. And that will cover it all and get all of it underneath the water with the baking soda, and that will remove the smell. If you have a larger container like this, you could wad up some newspaper and put it in here, or you could get another big bowl like this and submerge the whole thing, or even in your kitchen sink overnight, just pour a cup of baking soda in your kitchen sink, fill all your containers that you're cleaning and de-smellifying. Is that a word? That's not really a word. And let that soak overnight also. Now, you could, if you don't have baking soda, use borax, or if the baking soda doesn't work, which it's worked every time for me, use borax. That will definitely get it, and you can get it out. Now, as for the sticky is leftover grease that has just kind of accumulated on your Tupperware. And so what I would do is take a paste of baking soda and Blue Dawn and use that to scrub. And I would take your paste and spread it on, and then just let it sit on there for, I don't know, an hour or two, however long you want. And then you can just scrub it, and that should get the sticky off. So that's how you clean sticky, smelly Tupperware. Please visit us at livingonadime.com for more money-saving tips and recipes. We're going to release the steam. I put a towel over the vent so that I don't blow food-laden steam all over my ceiling and cabinets. If you are the queen of burned pans like I am, I'm going to show you today how to clean it. So, this pan here, charred with baking. Just really did a number on it. Fill it up with a little bit of water. Sprinkle in baking soda liberally around the bottom, and bring your water to a boil. Let it boil about 5 to 10 minutes, and turn the heat down when it starts to look like it's going to boil over. Turn your heat off, let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, then scrub out your pan. And it's come right off. Take regular dish soap. Scrub it around. And your pan is all nice and clean. This method works great on aluminum, copper, stainless steel, and non-stick pans. So be sure to use this non-abrasive method to save all your burned pans.